Hey guys, I'm Damesies from the Omnic Post. In the last few weeks and months, I've done a few videos that showed off the differences between certain maps in Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. Two of those videos, the ones where we looked at King's Row and Eichenwalde, gave us a look at some of the brand new zones on those maps that are currently still locked off, but that seem to be tied into some PvE gameplay that we'll see in 2023. Hopefully. Now in King's Row we could actually kind of get into those zones in spectator mode. But on Eichenwalde we only got to see doors since nothing seemed to load in. Now with the PvP release a few weeks ago, we found out that some other maps that had not been in the beta rotation also had new zones to them. Havana and Rialto. So I want to take you guys on a tour. Let's have a look. We're starting in Havana.
And here we are, the beautiful and sunny Havana. Look at all these colorful buildings. I love this map. It makes me miss summer. I mean, we're slowly approaching winter here in Belgium, so things are just gray, wet, and cold. But not in Havana. This is the Don Rombodico distillery, which is a bit of a facade, in the sense that behind those walls is the secret operation of Maximilian. If you played the PvE mission, the Archives event, you know that he's up to a lot of stuff, and that this distillery is part of it. You can find weapons, Talon weapons, hidden in rooms behind those walls, because Talon are cheeky buggers. But if you go to the right side of the distillery, you might notice something very different. This whole wall on the right changed substantially between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. For one, these barrels that look a lot fancier than they did in Overwatch 1 used to be behind a wall that would extend all the way up there, and that was way lower than this one is. It also had this picket fencing on the top, but it did not have the gates. And now suddenly we have two gates, a Reinhardt gate and a Tourbillon gate, that open up to a new zone. Well, in this case, they don't open up, but that is the idea. That is what should be happening when PvE releases. A new section also has a name. It's called La Plaza, which is, I think, square? I'm not certain though. I'm sure you guys will tell me in the comments what the actual meaning is. I just noticed a little padlock. What are they hiding in here? Anyways, let's get through the gate and discover La Plaza. It definitely is a square. It is not a huge section, but these extra sections never are. One thing that stands out though is that it is just bare bones. There is no set dressing going on at all. You just have the walls and that's it. All the other stuff like the cars, chairs, tables, even the birds are missing. And that makes sense. You want to make it a little easier to load this map. Now if you look at the structure of the map, I would say in the first instance, on the first glance, it might not involve a payload. First off, the stairs are a bit of an issue, although on Rio we've seen that the payload needs to kind of climb up a few stairs to start rolling towards the club. Like when it comes right out of its hiding spot, there's a flight of stairs, which is kind of interesting. I think they kind of changed their plans last minute. On top of that, the pathways are a little narrow. So I think this will be an on-foot mission. We're just kind of fighting off enemies and working our way through the map. There are these little weird spawn room looking rooms back here, which kind of makes sense. You need spawn rooms, I guess, for PvE characters, although I don't know if you need all the graphics and whatnot. So there are some weird elements to this structurally. There's also a lot of high ground, low ground, but that all makes sense even in PvE. I feel like this could perfectly work as an extension for PvP, but for now we don't know about any game mode that would add extra assets or extra room to any map, so I'm just going to keep assuming that this is all going to be PvE. There isn't much to see, as I told you. I mean, if you're looking for tiling, you might get some inspiration in here. Ceilings kind of look nice. I love how they sponged the walls, but yeah, that's it. Very colorful, very beautiful, very promising. But up till now, not too exciting. But it is what it is. Kind of breaking in. We shouldn't be complaining. We just need to take it in and wait it out and see what they bring us. As you can tell, all of it is just buildings. There's another exit, however, another gate. And interestingly enough, it kind of opens up to this zone, which is not accessible on the regular map. You can't get past these concrete blocks in the actual game. You might recognize it now. Just do this. This is basically where we started out. So I don't know. Are they going to open this section up at that point? Or is this gate just there for... I have no idea. I mean, they actually put drums or bongos up here. There's containers. Why would you name the gate if nobody can see it? Is there a way to see it? Yeah, you can see it from this way. That makes sense. So for now, I'm just going to assume that this is merely decorative. that we won't be using that gate. But all these attributes, these containers, these plants, these cars, we'll all see them end up on the other side of the gate. So yeah, there you have it. A new zone on Havana. Okay, let's move on to Rialto. And welcome to Rialto. I'm currently in the attacker spawn, as you can tell. And I really love doing these custom games where I roam around in spectator mode because you get to take in all the small details. Usually when I'm in this room, people are yelling at each other, trying to destroy stuff. There's voice lines being spammed. But when I'm here all by myself, I can take in the small details. It's art and music. Anyways, let's move on. First, before we go to discover the new zones, I want to show, or point out rather, 2 new elements. And I'm sure there's plenty more, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to kind of point out the things that we pass. And that is that right here at the spawn, there are a few new obstacles strategically put to kind of help the attackers make some room. And second is this statue. I don't know if you guys remember this, but back when Malevento was released, they kind of had this story around this lady, around this statue. It was part of a blog at some point, and we all kind of were thinking about who this could be. She could be tied into Talon, the history of Talon or whatnot. I don't remember exactly what the lore was, but anyway, she was very tied into that little section, to Malevento, to that little town. And now suddenly she appears right here. And I'm not 100% certain, but I don't think she was here in Overwatch 1. I mean, I think I would have noticed that she was here. And I guess they just added an extra obstacle and chose this statue. No idea why. Or I'm mistaken and this has been here all along and I'm just being a dumb. Could be either way. Anyways, let's move on. Let's have a look at the new section. There are 2 routes to getting in there. I love these robots. They've just been cleaning things up here for, well, 6 years now. Insane. Another thing that I'm not 100% certain if it was here in Overwatch 1, which could be the title of this video, is this bridge. Nice sundial or robot, garbage bin. It could be all of them. No, the only reasons I used to come back here was to kill a support that was trying to hide maybe a tracer that was really low, but I never paid attention to what was happening when it came to the water bridge situation. But what I do know is that everything behind this gate was not there. This is the new section that was added to Rialto for Overwatch 2, and it looks gorgeous. There are 2 things that might stand out for you if you paid attention to my speech on Havana, is that we got flowers on this one, chairs, umbrellas, tables. So this section has been dressed at least a little bit. I mean, it's not like they did everything that they're planning to do, I presume, but they did some effort. They cleaned things up. They made it a little more presentable. That only happened in this little section though. Once you go beyond the bridges, it's back to the bare bones, but this kind of feels nice. Now, there's another part I want to show you that is the second entrance to this zone. It's not over there, but you have this little hallway, and then you end up right here. A place where so many support players end up dying because, yeah, this is a dead end. Or at least there was a dead end up till now. Anyways, let's go back. This is so beautiful, man. Another thing that you might notice is that this zone is considerably larger than any of the other zones that we've seen in Havana or Kings Row. And that it feels more like a stage than an arena. The other zones had more of an arena feel to them. Basically an open space where anything could happen, where you could throw in a payload or you could throw in a bunch of soldiers, but that was about it. There were no elements to it that kind of made you feel like a story could be happening there. On this section, that is very different. I feel like this is a stage. I feel there are like so many little rooms, hallways, stairways, bridges. It has a lot of verticality to it, but it also kind of has that maze feel to it. You could get lost in here. I'm pretty sure I got lost in here already twice. But yeah, by now I should know. As you can tell, there are a lot of small exits towards the water. It's Venice after all. But I could definitely see a whole story kind of develop here in different stages. You could have a whole mission set on this section of the map without even having to go back to the old part of Rialto. Now, that being said, what we got to see on Havana and Kings Row might just be a small part of everything that they have planned for those maps. You need to remember that we're kind of breaking into these zones. We're kind of looking behind the curtain. But that doesn't mean that we get to see everything. There might still be some sections that they're keeping hidden from us, that they're just not loading in, that we don't know about. And we'll find out next year, I guess. This feels like a very prominent and important building. I mean, that is one of the most iconic towers in all of Venice. So I'm presuming that some of the story will be happening right here behind the closed door. Let's have a peek. Right, that's dark. Oh. Oh, nice. Vaporetto. This is like a little, I don't even know what to call it. A hallway besides the water? Is that a thing? Does that have a special name? I think this is merely decorative, to be honest. It's for the people that are right there in that little corner. If they look over here, that they see something beautiful. The level of detail, man. You gotta appreciate it. All right, now we see these hard lines between the water, but that's fine. Nobody gets to see that. Although, maybe? Wait. Yeah, you do, actually. Yeah, work in progress. Let's call it work in progress. I just can't get enough of those small little details. Blizzard is really upping their game when it comes to the maps. And you need to imagine all of this to be dressed with, like I said, flowers, plants, tables, chairs, cars, bikes, little food stands, a pigeon or two. And then you get the real feel of what is happening here. Add some NPCs on top of that are telling a story. And bam, there you go. You have a PvE mission. All right. But that was Rialto.
And that was it for both Rialto and Havana. I cannot wait to find out what they have planned for these zones and what they will look like once they're really active, because they were kind of bare bones now. They should be dressed up a little more, and hopefully that will happen in 2023. Now tell me, what story do you see unfolding on these parts of the map? And what other maps should get a bit of a PvE treatment? Let me know in the comments. Join me during my streams on twitch.tv/DamesTV and make sure to subscribe for more updates on Overwatch.